Alright guys, we are back again today. Hello. We got some fun stuff in store. I mean, this is mostly just, again, a recording. We're going to be finishing up that trial stuff, like I said. Well, the trial fight once we get to it from the MSQ, and we'll also be finishing up whatever raid stories left, which shouldn't be much, but yeah, we'll see what it leads to. When we last left off, we had to finish this dialogue with La Habrea here, so let's see what happens next. I just felt like if I kept going yesterday, I probably would have kept falling behind the dialogue because I was just so tired. At least now I know that if I try to talk for that long, I'll eventually just lose focus and fall off the rails. La Habrea watches over Claudian with concern. That and I should have probably gotten more water. I didn't have enough. It seems we can do naught but wait. Oh! Cutscene! Huzzah! Claudian. Claudian, you okay? Possession really takes it out of somebody, doesn't it? Perhaps we might discuss a matter which has been troubling me. While your colleague Nimgigi was enlightening us on the historical events which led to this era, she let slip the name of one of the Asians, La Habrea. Now I can still fumble words. Although she knew of the figure only from her research, she was most insistent that there is no evidence connecting the Asian to myself. Yet I am aware that this La Habrea used the heart of Sabik to sow chaos throughout your world, and I would be a fool to deny such strong connections between us. You are the only one present who has met the Asian in question, so I would ask you directly, are he and I one and the same? Is my fate to work in the shadows and bring about untold destruction? I cannot be certain. Bro, just say the truth. He deserves that much. Plus, he's just a memory. You are him. I see. You say it's so, then there is no reason to disbelieve it. These Asians, or Paragons, I'm told, were ruthless in their schemes to rejoin the Sundered Worlds. I've heard but a small number of their deeds, and still I find it difficult to comprehend the depths to which they were willing to sink. To choose a path of evil, all for the sake of the star. It shows that they weren't always like that. I admit 'tis a decision I would make under the right circumstances, although the ages may take their toll. My devotion to my duty will never waver. It gives you like a new side of him, right? Paying no heed to what might be lost, I will treat the heart of Sabik as a mere tool for my own ends. Never caring to look beyond the surface, I will unleash forces that I fail to truly comprehend, and remain blissfully ignorant of my hypocrisy all the while. Oh, I woke up. Yeah, isn't that a nice thing? You can like tell La Habrea what he's done. It's kind of like what happened with Emmett. Ah, it appears Claudian has awakened. Hello. Hey, nice hair, by the way. Looks familiar. I can't say why, though. Laros, I have some faint memories of what transpired. You stood against Athena and won. And you were there, too. La Habrea, Erchthonios' memories of you dwell within me still. Through unyielding discipline, you hoped to forge a son equal to yourself. The crucible you placed in him left scars which were loath to heal. Yet you were never motivated by selfishness. All you did was in service of your duty. At the least I will hear no more. Though you may possess Erchthonios' memories, you are not him. In rebirth, you have become someone else entirely. And you belong to this age. Oh, that's actually going to be really dope. As such, I am your enemy, and an enemy does not deserve sympathy. I almost said sympathy. Of course, I would never condone the actions of the Asian, but you are not him. You are La Habrea of the Convocation. You spared no effort in saving us from Athena's machinations. For that you deserve the utmost praise, and my personal thanks. Actually kind of touching. If you insist on deceiving yourself, then so be it. My stance remains unchanged. The most difficult of your trials is behind you. You may find that Pandemonium has yet to relinquish the last of its secrets. Among them is the identity of Hephaestus' liberator, who set the very first wheels in motion. There is but one place to find these answers. Past. Oh, we gotta go back to the past. With Samurai something. However, I must insist that you keep silent about Athena's fate. While I doubt it would change the decisions I make, you should not tender us information we could not uncover ourselves. Yep, we still don't want to tamper with the past. Now that I've said my piece, I shall follow in my son's footsteps. Thank you, La Habrea. I can't believe I said that, but, you know, learning more about him changes you. These odious memories will fade to nothing, as was always the fate. Oh, their fate, sorry. Farewell. Thank you, La Habrea. My time too draws near, but I believe I can stay long enough to see this matter through. You shall journey to the past to seek out the truth of La Habrea's words, yes? While Themis himself may have been there to see this encounter, I have the unique opportunity to hear your perspective on the matter. That is, of course, if you will share it with me. I look forward to it. I shall take in the ethereal sea one final time as I await your return. Can't believe... That's so cool that we go to an Endwalker. We went to this area that was basically just where all life is. It's like the life stream in 7, you know? It's such a cool idea. Alright, let's head over here. We'll continue these quest lines. I'll at least finish these, you know? This is such a strange thing that I'm going to be recording this. And then also streaming something later. But, you know. Again, I said I wanted to avoid spoiling anyone. It's too much of my time in a day. But I'm only doing this because I really wanted to get this done. So people aren't spoiled by, like, quest names or anything at all. I take spoilers very seriously because I know how much it sucks to have something that you really like watching or playing get even a little bit spoiled for you, and then suddenly it all just kind of falls apart and it ruins the surprise. I've had that happen before. Like, even... sadly, even yesterday when we were streaming, the Themis fight, like seeing Elidibus show up, yeah, I already knew that Elidibus was going to show up because someone linked me a part of a conversation they were having with somebody, and I was just like, oh, okay. Well, it is what it is. That, you know, it happens. So I already knew that we were going to end up fighting Elidibus, and then it would kind of be, you know, just a sad moment. How else do we put it, other than saying it's sad? I still love the way this place looks. It's so, like, the Halloween house here. And then the music, too. Like, who's playing on that right now? Who's just jamming out? And this whole area. So I love the aesthetic to this whole entire place. Oh, it's so just creepy. Silent Hill vibes, you know? Zaros, truth be told, I thought you would have little reason to ever visit this place again. Seems I was wrong. Looking for answers. I just wanted to say hello. No, I'm looking for answers. How neatly you obfuscate your motivations. Do as you will, then. He has gone through the trouble to visit us, so I hardly think curtness is in order. We braved Pandemonium together. Why not at least share with him our progress? I have relinquished control of Pandemonium to La Habrea. I was never meant to hold it for long, and now such authority resides in its rightful hands. With La Habrea's help, we have poured through Athena's research into the Hermethy. Thus were we able to restore hegemony's mind and body. Yet there is still much work to be done, damage to repair, keywords to replace. The tasks are too many to count. But although the path may be long, our progress is steady. I believe we can safely say that Pandemonium will soon function as it did before. Indeed. Before we reach that point, however, there are some matters which must be put to rest. One concerns Pandemonium itself, and another is a personal matter. Until they are settled, I cannot move forward. It shall not take long. Like resolve caused me to delay, but I have chosen my course. These concerns must be weighty indeed. Do you intend to share your burden with us? If you would bear witness, then come. Your arrival at this very moment almost beggars belief, but I shall not ask you to leave. I simply ask that you do not interfere, no matter what may happen. We just look so mad. Like, don't give away that you know who we are, as we just stare daggers in the La Habrea 24/7. Hello. Hello. Stay here. It'll be over soon. Why did you call me here, Master La Habrea? There's still much to be done if the warders are to be freed. You have served within Pandemonium since Athena's time, have you not? That makes you the most senior keyword, now that Axistis is gone. As such, you deserve to know a secret few others are privileged to hear, one concerning myself. Separating Hephaestus from myself required removing part of my soul. Necessary sacrifice, but one which came at no small cost to my natural talents. I am but a shadow of the man I was at the time of my appointment as La Habrea. I could never hope to wield the same magics that Hephaestus used to bind the warders' minds, let alone break their shackles. That tone of defeat does not befit your voice, Master La Habrea. Do not give in to despair. There is no despair, only truth. I do not confide in you to garner cheap sympathy. Hephaestus left behind fascinating research. His conclusion was that in order to transform a vessel into a Hemitheos, absolute control over their mind was essential. As you well know, the magics used to achieve such dominion exploited strong emotions within their victims' hearts. In the case of Hesperos and Axistis, their respect for me. Unslipping his bonds, Hephaestus took steps to throw Pandemonium into chaos. With their attention divided, keyword and warder alike were easy targets. But there was an act that came before. Regardless of Hephaestus' prowess, he could not have won freedom on his own. Saying who did it. For long days and nights I pondered who might have released him. I could only conclude that Athena's plans were set in motion long, long ago, when she claimed the mind of one of her admirers. He's saying it's her. Hegemony. None would question your pride in your position, your devotion to Pandemonium. But you do not believe I am the one fit to lead it, do you? Your loyalty lies not with my vision for Pandemonium, but Athena's. Master La Habrea, whatever has spurred this sudden accusation, I assure you there's a proper explanation. Silence, bitch! Oh. What are you doing, La Habrea? Do not approach. As I have already stated, even should I detect Athena's tinkering, I am currently powerless to dispel it. And so I have come to a decision, one which was made with the best interests of our star in mind. In order to build a better future, I require the strength I have lost. I must embrace these odious memories. And this is how La Habrea became full again. Like a sippy cup that was half empty. He did the big suck. Mark well this sight. Engrave it upon your very soul. Whoa, what a badass. You now bear witness to the true La Habrea. Ah! Man, he took someone down in one spell. Normally it takes us like 50,000. Good job, Laha. I cannot imagine this was an easy choice, but it is done. Is she alive? Yes, and she shall remember this lesson well. In this puppet no longer, I see. You may yet harbor ill will toward me, but that is a risk I am willing to take. Whoa. Our star requires a steady hand to guide it, and now mine is equal to the task. I can no longer allow pandemonium to divert my focus. Hegemony, I would ask that you serve me anew. There is none other more suited to overseeing this prison. None other who will take such pride in their duty. Hegemony. My loyalty to Athena led me to betray you once before. Why would you allow me to keep the position of keyword? I require your talents, as I require Hephaestus's. The past is of no consequence. Very well. In honor of our fallen colleagues, I shall restore this institution to its former glory. La Habrea is himself once more. He wields his authority without hesitation, and thinks not twice once his judgment is sounded. He is different from Athena. He thinks only of the betterment of the star. So long as duty guides his actions, he shall not share her fate. Should his convictions ever waver, the emissary will set him back on the proper course. Good. This is the path he chooses to walk, then I will walk with him. I'll allow our bond to fray no further. As his son, I will support him in the days ahead. That's touching. Very touching. I would not ask you to say the same, Zyros. You and I stand on peaks separated by vast chasms. Our perspectives shall never align. Does he remember? And never shall one give way to the other. Such is our nature. With that in mind, let us consider any depths between us to be void. Before you leave here, mark well these words. My resolve shall weather loss unfathomable, and yield before no obstacle. Walk your path with the same conviction. Pretty dope. A good thing to end on, I say. Because, I mean, he was never going to end with us being friends with him, but it just gives us more perspective as to what his personality is like, you know? And I think that's good enough, especially for a character like La Habrea. See the kind of man he was before he lost his home and everything. But you can really respect the Asians in a lot of ways for that, you know. That's one thing that is always interesting to me about, well, Final Fantasy 14, some cases, and then other just Final Fantasy games. Not every villain gets redeemed, but they do try to humanize a lot of people, you know, or at least make them relatable by emotions, not just they're always unsympathetic monsters. Sure, there are some characters like that, but they're not all of them, and I think that's neat. Also, I didn't realize I could fly here. I can no longer fly here. Never mind. Yeah. Not like unsympathetic villains are bad. Like characters that are just irredeemably evil. Those are fun. I just like how Final Fantasy likes to treat a lot of their villain characters. I like Kujo. Kuja. I want to say Cypher, Idea. 8. The Turks, 7. The list can go on. I think it's just a matter of perspective, what you enjoy when it comes to the writing as well. I think that's the other thing though about imagination and stuff when it comes to creative writing, at least when I used to study this stuff. I mean, obviously not all of it's going to be based on real life, but the way that people behave in stories that you read, they're based on some kind of truth or some kind of belief, you know, that the writer has. So with that in mind, imagination does play some kind of role. There you are, Zyros. While you were away, Themis brought me up to speed on all that happened while I was held prisoner. His story shone light upon any number of questions that were niggling at my conscience, namely those concerning the ethereal signature emanating from Aziz's law. Doubtless its source was Athena, reaching out as far as she could from her prison, ever grasping for someone to take Ericthonios' place, grasping for the body his soul resided in. I wanted to ask, when you first found the crystal, were you unable to hear the memory stored within? Indeed, it was only after our research was well underway that I could hearken to its whispers. Contact with the crystal should have awakened the memories, but the passage of time likely changed Ericthonios' soul in subtle ways. Perhaps ethereal resonance was a gradual process in this case. However, being attuned to Ericthonios exposed you to Athena's voice as well. Doubtless the choice to venture forth in Aziz's law was not your own. It was Athena's influence working through you. I do recall being strangely fixated on acting alone. I never would have encouraged such recklessness usually, although the choice was not entirely my own. I am still ashamed of my actions. Reflection is how we plant the seeds of growth, although we must not blame ourselves for events out of our control. That's important. I do that a lot. I blame myself for things I can't control. That the voice in the crystal belonged to the prison from which your soul originated. Well, not even the most brilliant researcher could come to that conclusion. Your reassurance means more than you know. Thank you. Now, one final matter. Concerns the very crystal whose discovery set this adventure in motion. Perhaps sparked by recent events, a new light began to shine from within its depths. From my experience, this may indicate that a new memory has floated to the surface, eager to be observed. Whoa, that's exciting. For some time, the question of why La Habrea and Ericthonios would leave such a crystal behind in the first place was lingered in the back of my mind. Why? What? The amount of times I've skipped dialogue on accident because of the auto text. At this point, people would tell me, "Zeros, just stop, turn it off." And I'm like, "No, I'll leave it on because I'm a dummy." Wait, was this a memory from Ericthonios? I leave this memory for you, the future of our star. The final days have come, and the creation magics we have so relied upon now hasten our downfall. But despair has not yet won out. La Habrea and the others of the Convocation are working to stem the chaos, which threatens to engulf our star. Their plan requires great sacrifice. Elidibus Themis has already offered to give his life for our salvation. Yet there's another problem which must be dealt with. Pandemonium, wherein are confined our most vicious creations. Even should we survive the final days, it will take time to restore order. Pandemonium cells were breached and their prisoners set upon the star. Our hard-won peace would be obliterated in an instant. Someone must stay behind to ensure that never happens. With Themis and La Habrea otherwise indisposed, that responsibility falls to me. And that's why Pandemonium never shows up, because of Ericthonios. And that is why I must defy the directive of the Convocation. My soul will not be offered to manifest the will of the star, but instead consigned to eternal vigil. Aw, Eric. I know that in doing so the final days may take me. I may not live to see my duty upheld. But that's why I have resolved to set this crystal adrift in the tides of the underworld. It contains memories of Pandemonium from both my father and I. It shall bear this warning to the future, even if I cannot. I've imbued the crystal with magics that will attract it to my essence. Even should I journey through the underworld and be born anew, this message will reach me. Pandemonium shall not be left unattended. Dang. If all else fails, then perhaps another man like my dear friend will come along. One with an almost unnatural ability to pick up the scent of trouble. He's talking about us. I wonder where he is now. How many souls has he saved? And how many beasts has he slain since we last met? Aww. Alongside my warning, this memory shall carry a wish. Zyros, may we meet again. Now listen well. If anyone receives this message, you must come to Pandemonium. Please make haste. I repeat. Well, we did get to meet again. Kind of. That's really sad, but also very touching. Well, that dispels the last of my doubts. Thank you for humoring me, and now we come to this. It survived. Hello there. Yes, the heart of Sebek. The tie that bound Athena's memories to my body, no doubt. When I regained my senses, I found it on my person. Now it appears your efforts have left it bereft of memories. No trace remains of Athena. However, its power as a sight yet remains, and it may prove to be a valuable trove of knowledge in the hands of the right researcher. I feel that fate has left it with me for a reason. I shall take my leave, but on behalf of my colleagues, nay, the entire star, I thank you both for putting an end to Athena's wickedness. I mean, that was a plot to take over the world and become a god, so we saved the day. Go us. Good job, Elidibus. Also, it's probably my favorite fight was the Elidibus one, so a little bit more. But we're gonna say goodbye now.
I see. Then Hephaestus' story has been laid bare.
Oh, you have a voice for this one, okay.
As has the nature of our mysterious crystal. The questions which led us into Pandemonium are answered, and soon order shall be restored. I too can fade away, unburdened by regret. I could not have reached this point without you, friend.
I was looking at my phone and I guess it's been listening to what I've been saying because it decided to look up something about a star.
So many revelations. But there are more, if you would dig a little deeper. Elidibus's soul was plucked from the ethereal sea, and from it I was wrought. Surely you have a passing interest in what I remember, in what I feel. You deserve what answers I can provide. While my memories of Pandemonium are clear, all else is hazy at best. Perhaps Athena made me this way. Or perhaps it is the result of who or what I was before. Still, I can recall vague figures, scenes from my future and your past. At the Crystal Tower's peak, we clash. And later, from that self-same spire, I send you forth into our age, into Elpis. Why do I decide on such a course? Formless as these images are, I cannot say. However, I can hazard a guess. Somewhere within my fragmented memories, I catch a glimpse of our journey into Pandemonium. A glimpse which shows not the path we took or the destination where it led us, yet by its very presence demands that you are required in Elpis. And even if that act is but one link in the chain of events which ends in Atheris' salvation, then this all has meaning. Our time together, every moment, is worthwhile, and I am unburdened by regret. That said, it is possible my motivations become something else entirely. That you would cross this vast expanse in the hopes of being reunited with your allies. A devotion that once would have baffled me. But after having been to the depths of that twisted prison and back, I think I can understand. Now, I have pulled back the curtain as far as I dare. The people of your age call this the Ethereal Sea, a name I quite enjoy, for it teems with life, each star a soul on its journey.
Very nice, isn't it?
And among these uncountable stars, it was yours that crossed my path. For that, I shall be forever grateful. I wish you well on your journey. A journey as long as your star is bright. A journey not bound by the confines of this world or any other.
Such a nice thing to do. That's what a lifelong friend is like. Even if we ended up becoming enemies at some point, you know. There's still the memories of what we saw together in the past. The bonds that we shared. Hello. Are we playing Bravely Default now?
How fascinating. the truths that dwell at the edge of sleep. The course of history is set by its victors. It is immutable, and yet should this star continue upon its path, look,
I'm looking.
the light.
Yeah, it looks great. Oh god, no, it's too bright. No. No. At least it was nice and bubbly. What about the light? Welcome back, Zaros. I hope you said farewell to Themis for me. Recent events have given me not only a new focus for my research, but also insight into my own origins. Truly, it is a gift I can never hope to repay. La Brea said, I am not Ericthonios, yet I bear a part of him inside me, and I shall do what I can to follow the traces he has left behind in the present day. Spark has been struck in my mind. I am ready to pursue my research with a fervor the likes of which I have not had since my youth. Doubtless I shall have need of you in the days and moons ahead. When that time comes, I only hope that you will once again lend me your sound counsel. Until then, may you fare well. And may you as well. Thank you. Awesome jail. Great job. Or awesome goal. Goal. I don't know. Awesome goal. Great job. Nice on. Alright, let's finish up the MSQ now. Well, the story in that was a lot of fun. The bosses themselves are interesting. I mean, it makes sense that you end up fighting Pandemonium. I think all the bosses make sense. Because you're in the future, and really, what's left of the beasts really weren't that many. You know? It's based on that. Well, the fights are going to be interesting, though. At least in Savage. Normal ones were alright. I feel like the Pandemonium fight itself is going to be crazy. Because it was very, very, very simple and normal. And also the lag seems to be gone. I don't know if I should take that back now. That was terrifying when I started hitting mudras. My thanks for seeing to the supporters. With this, all is in readiness for the ritual. First, I shall give the order to Alpha Node and Alice in the Tower of Babel to channel Aether to the moon. Once we have amassed a sufficient amount of energy, Arion J, and I shall begin our incantations to open a void gate. If all goes well, a tear, like Tears of the Kingdom, Tears of the Kingdom. The tear and tier word is driving me crazy. Will form in the fabric of reality, at which point you must activate the brands and put in place the containment seal. That is all. If there are no questions, then let us begin. Hello, twins.
Apologies for the wait. The preparations here are finally complete.
Hit the button.
Excellent. The Tower 2 is activated. But give the word and we will begin channeling the ether.
Very well then. Make it so.
Make it so. Isn't that a Star Trek thing?
The moment of
Make it so. Number one. Oh yeah. Launch that Aether. Look at that. Woo! Look at all that Aether. It's so beautiful. You think that us doing that has set something else off in motion now? Secretly? Because of how large that amount of Aether is. Oh my gosh, look at that Aether. It's like a Kamehameha. Wah! Ah! Nah!
Sisters.
Yeah, right? That's what I'm saying. Jeez. That is a ton of Aether.
Oriange, commence your invocations. 'Tis time to open our gate.
Thank goodness for link shells. Now we know this works because we've seen the cube dimension in the 6.4 trailer.
A tear is beginning to form. Quickly, activate the brands.
Okay. See, I told you. Okay. That's why that we got this little nod, just like, uh-huh. Warrior of Light speaks in 3 ways. Pantomime, nodding, shaking their head. Anything else is simply not true. Well, at least we don't have to actually run around and do this. Imagine if we had to see our character like running from each brand, just like put your hand up. That just feels like it would be busy work if they made me do that myself. Yeah, that seemed like a lot of Aether.
Success. The gate is open, and the seal appears to be in place.
Appears to be.
Let's see how well it holds.
Have we just set in motion the events of Final Fantasy VIII by filling monsters on the moon? Remember, that happens. There's monsters just in space.
What an enormous gate! Lord Golbez will be eager to hear of this. So this is the promised land. The land of boundless ether.
Yeah, I want to see you fly around and see what happens. Are you gonna like... There we go. And... that was pretty comical.
I dare say the seal doth serve its purpose.
That's not an actual seal. Just like art, 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 art. Oh, there's even more of them now. Oh, I know. Never mind. It's our boy. Hey, it's me, your boy.
I see all proceedeth apace. Remarkable.
And your scales are all okay, Vertra.
Indeed. Just this moment, a void scent emerged from the gate, by which we may safely assume it leads to the 13th.
It did say something about Golbez.
It's incredible, Ishtola. Truly incredible. Oh, what an honor it is to have been part of this historic achievement.
I want you on a bet that they have a trap on the other
Part
side
is
for
an
us.
Understatement. None of this would have been possible without you and yours.
Wouldn't that be something? As if they knew that we would try to do all of
Our
this.
success has also served to solidify our understanding of cross-rift travel. The Ascians rejoined reflections to the source by instigating elemental imbalances. These imbalances weakened the barrier between realities, causing the ether of a reflection to flood the source.
What?
But why is it that reflections are predisposed to rejoin the source? Why have they never merged with one another?
Thou art suggesting there is a unique property inherent to the source, one responsible for such an outcome.
I am. 'Tis my conclusion that, as the point of origin for the reflections, the source has an innate pull over them.
Interesting.
Hydaelyn, I believe, sought to suppress that pull, which is why she was created with the power of light, of stasis.
Zodiac was trying to pull them together.
Meanwhile, the power of darkness, of activity, reigns in the void. Hydaelyn's influence would naturally be weaker, and this manifested in the form of planar fissures.
Look how cool it looks, though.
Working with this hypothesis, I set my sights upon where the pull was assessed to be strongest.
Hey, what are you
And
looking
through
at?
our combined efforts,
Huh?
we succeeded in opening a gate to the void.
Pretty big
Now,
achievement.
I must stress, it was because we sought the void that we succeeded. Pleased though I am to have my theory proven, the secrets of travel to other reflections still elude us.
So, to the void, it's okay, but to other
Even
areas,
so,
we don't really know
in
yet.
the reality that lies beyond the 8th umbral calamity, there are those who found a way to reach the first. I will not rest until I do the same.
Stella wants to be
One
the
step
big brain.
closer to fulfilling your dream, eh?
Yep.
Just a step. Many more remain to be taken.
Many more expansions
Which
to
further
go
motivates me
through.
to forestall a void-sent invasion. So come, let us set forth to find Ashdaya and put an end to Golbez's plot.
Yeah, Golbez. Gonna kick him in the butt. Kick him in the butt. Let's go. Jamming.
Climb upon my back. I shall take us to the gate.
As we did discuss prior, I shall see the alchemists safely home, then together with the Loporits maintain vigil over the gate.
Thank you,
May
Orion.
the sisters watch over and keep you safe.
Bye. We're off now.
Into the void once more.
Bye. We're going into the void. See ya. Woo! That purple drink. Then what's up with all the purple cubes that we fight Golbez on? Hello, Void. Hey, it worked. Oh, Void is right. This is very barren. And very red. Oh. Are we on Mars? No, wait, this is the moon. I was kidding when I said Mars.
This is the moon of the 13th.
Oh, sure looks like it. What a dump. I mean, it is the void. Look, it even has like the same cracks and everything. And there's the planet.
It is. Ever since the flood, it has been a sanguinary orb in the sky.
Jeez.
No void sent. A rather more subdued reception than I had anticipated.
But unsurprising, given how jealously Golbez conceals the location of his domain. Still, we must remain on guard. One of his minions came through the gate, after all, and more may lie in wait.
I do not sense my sister. Where could she be? Where?
Steady, Vritra. We've barely arrived. Let us explore our surrounds before drawing conclusions.
shall survey the moon from above. The ground I leave to you all.
Is that really a good idea? I mean, they already know we're here, probably. Never mind. Time to wander around on the moon. Oh, do you hear this music? It almost sounds like the music in Final Fantasy IV when you're on the moon. Actually, it pretty much is, even with that piano. Maybe I need to turn it up more. I don't know if you guys can hear it well enough, actually. That's cool, though. The surface of the moon is a grim shade of crimson. Consequence of the flood of darkness, perhaps. Unlike the other planet that we went to, where it was a flood of what, light? And we went... Oh. I can't even mount here? Dang. This definitely sounds like Final Fantasy IV music. It's really sad. This is the fate of the world of Final Fantasy IV, anyway. And just in general, I mean, it's sad. No matter how you strain your eyes, you spy no signs of life. In all directions extends desolate waste without end. Hello? I can see Zero over there. You hold your breath in an attempt to catch the faintest noise. Save for the sounds of your comrades, there's nothing. So far, you have failed to find any clues to Asdaya's whereabouts. Perhaps Zero has noticed something you missed. Over there. Hey, Zero. Anything down here in the void? Oh, down there. The center. I'll play some of the music for you later from Final Fantasy IV, just because you need to hear how similar it sounds.
Your attention as well.
Joe did.
There's some manner of structure below. Worth a look, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, pretty much.
I too sense something here. This pit much resembles the cradle of darkness on our moon, where Zodiac was once imprisoned.
But here it's being used as like
This
a
place serves the same
castle.
function, then a fragment of his power must have been sealed in the depths. Strange, though. When Zodiac perished in the Source, I presumed that every aspect of him was thus unmade, and his power scattered, but it's unmistakable. The darkness that permeates this abyss. Could a trace of him yet remain? Or is it something else?
The Romus? Zemus?
I hear thee, sister. I hear thee. Climb on, my friends. Asdaya is here, within this chasm.
Well, We know where we have to go then. Please tell me we actually can rescue them.
You were entrusted with Ajdaya's eye, were you not?
Please tell me we put it inside of a bag or something. No! I'm wondering where Golbez is. Hey. Oh, thank goodness. Yo, sister, it's great to see you. I've dreamed of this moment. Look, I'm glad I found you. I would have... If I could have been here sooner, I would have. But, yeah, let's go home. Come on. Chop, chop. Yeah, these dragon chains are super tough, so I can't get out of here, but seeing you fills me with joy. Golbez made these and he sucks. And yeah, they've been forged by him, so I can't get out of here until he's probably dead.
This is indeed Golbez's domain.
Yeah, you working with humans and mortals? Ew. Yeah, look, I know they're tiny, but they're actually pretty valuable. Wow, time flies, because before they used to suck. Can you remember when all the humans were fighting against the Void Scent? Yeah, I wanted to save Tiamat, so I flew into the lightless world, then struck an attack on Cloud of Darkness. Yeah, I was stuck in the darkness because the void wouldn't stop, because you know the void is all encompassing. Yo, but that makes you super strong. I mean, you saved tons of people, sis. Good job. And like, damn, can you believe it? Thanks to you, we made peace with the humans. Thanks to you, I'm now a rich bitch. Let's go be rich together, sister. Seriously though, you're coming home with me because it's such a poppin' place. You need to check it out. Golbez is actually keeping me from turning because otherwise I might turn evil. Yeah, so apparently that if I remain bound, I won't turn, but if I'm not bound, then I will
Now
turn.
then, does this great worm intend to remain a captive meal for all eternity, not daring to test her chains?
I don't need to read that because he already said it. Man, you're just like Nidhogg. You suck at trying to be encouraging. You just gotta beat up Golbez, and I'll be free, okay? Let's go.
There's a start. So, what can you tell us?
Well, he's afraid of the color green. So Golbez can't travel far without me by, because then the spell will fade. Yeah, sometimes he comes out of his little hidey hole to say hi to people, but otherwise he just sends his little cronies. Yeah, he likes hanging out in the south for some reason. I don't know why, but yeah, that's the only place that he leaves the moon for.
Well, you heard her. Shall we look into this spot near and dear to our enemy's heart?
That was one big throne. Golbez is a big man. He's chunky. He's a chunky lad. Cool. The red side of the moon, maybe. Okay. Sorry. I've been in a kind of a singy mood, just sitting here listening to all this stuff. Abyssal Dark. Zero would begin the hunt for Golbez. The others have already begun searching for clues. Let us do the same. I'll take charge of this area, if you could see to the south. Okay, here I go. Hello, Vertra. Would you find something there, buddy boy? Oh, point of interest. See you, Vertra. Oh, please don't be like a kind of memorial. A glint from beneath the rock catches your eye. I mean, it looks like it could be a grave.
Did you find something?
No, nothing important, just a grave. Moving on. Oh, it's a crystal.
A memoria. But whose?
No! No! Huh. What the heck is that?
You have lied, pillaged, and murdered. Have you anything to say in your defense?
Durant?
No. Every one of them got what they deserved. Trusting fools.
Well, that's not very good. Say that.
But you would-be heroes. Aye. You do well to keep a close eye on each other. It always ends the same way. A knife in the back. And better to have the handle towards your hand. You'll see! Oh, yes. You will.
Ooh. Death, may your soul find salvation.
I can't bring myself to pray for the unrepentant.
You're a nobler man than I.
Oh, thanks, man. Come now. They're all shaped by these dark times more than we care to admit. I choose to believe that, had these men known peace and plenty, they would not have been consumed by mistrust and avarice.
Victims of the Contra Memoria, then. Like so many others. But we will end it.
Thank you. I shudder to imagine what might have happened if you hadn't dealt with the Dark Ones.
Oh, thank you. What was that? Is that Zero?
Her? She's like you, I hear. Hunts Memoriates taken by darkness.
Well, well. A kindred spirit. Perhaps we will finally have a new comrade.
No. I've no interest in working with others. Much less someone who looks as suspicious as you.
We're not suspicious. Is that so?
If there's nothing else, I'll be on my way.
Even when we share the same goal, we can't overcome the mistrust. Such is the way of things, the wisdom of our era.
Only a precious few Memoriates remain who cling to the light. But that we would have won her over.
We'll make do, old friend. We have accomplished much already, and another person may well have been more of a hindrance than help. Now then, our work here is finished. His Majesty has summoned us, so let us not delay. To Baron.
Wait, what? Okay, so this is actually set in the world of Final Fantasy IV. They're going to Baron. But who the heck is Durant? I don't think I've ever heard that name before.
Had another vision of the past, did you?
Yeah, and it's very confusing.
What? I was in it. It's them. The pair I met in that village. Which means the one sealed in this Memoria is...
So, you have come.
Oh, so this is actually Durant. Listen to that voice. That's not actually Golbez. The Golbez that we hear is dead. Sister! Okay, so this wasn't Golbez this entire time. That was just his friend.
You. I know you.
Is that so? From the world before, I dare say.
So you are not actually Golbez. You're
It is
just...
impressive enough that you have managed to retain your mortal form. But to remember your past besides...
Well, the king of Baron at that time then could have been Cecil.
Moment. You are the Memoriate who vanquished my minions. Correct.
And what if I am?
Yeah, what now, punk?
Then... I would bid you join me. As a child of our world and slave to the wheel, fight with me for the salvation of all our souls.
fight with you. More like fight as your pawn. It isn't me you want, but my power. And if I don't obey, you'll bind me like you bound that dragon. But no more.
What?
I refuse to be bound ever again. I fight only for myself, and for those in whom I trust. My friends.
Yeah, friendship.
I see. A pity. It is for the dragon that you have come, yes?
Yes, fake Bez.
When first you appeared, I thought simply to remove a threat to our plan. Never did I imagine that you would reach this place and gift me a golden opportunity. Long as it has been imprisoned, this dragon has grown feeble and weak, its spirit extinguished.
Yes.
Your coming has served to rekindle her forgotten hope.
Not cool.
Her yearning to be free, to return home. That is the key to our deliverance.
Oh. Oh no. It's like she said, the darkness, it's overwhelming her. No!
The darkness is ravaging her. She's becoming a void scent.
No!
Rise, O shadow dragon, and obey.
Well, this is one way for Golbez to get his shadow dragon. Yeah. I shouldn't say yeah because it's sad, but at the same time, yeah, the shadow dragon. Heyo. Not cool, bro. No, we need Vertra. He's our bro. Don't hurt him. Dang, dragon fights.
Damn you!
We were gonna save the dragon. It's an ambush.
Keep our guests occupied.
Oh no, Vertra. Oh, come on, you can't die. Wow, he is very tall. He could just punt us
Before
away.
Darkness swallowed the world. I fought tirelessly in a war without end. The experience taught me to discern the strong, that dragon, and you.
Oh, look at the lights from the daggers are flying up. So this is where the cube comes from. And our other theme for the Four Fiends has been made. It also serves as Golbez's theme, you know? Rest assured I need no invitation. I'll deal with you and then I'll free Asdaya. It's time to summon my bro squad. Come to me, bros.
Accursed light. You, who have ever basked in its warmth, could never understand our envy, our agony. You
Bruh.
must deny us our release.
This is crazy. Very epic. Oh, and it's mixed in with the main theme of Final Fantasy IV. This is amazing. Alright, well, I guess we're gonna do this. Wonder how long this will take. Oh, bro. This music is beautiful. It's just absolutely gorgeous. Giant sword man. Knight in black Golbez. Change that to Durant. No, you're not actually Golbez. It's based on that guy's voice. The fact that they don't actually show you hearing Golbez speak.
To destroy you, I shall bring my all to bear. Come, warriors from beyond the rift.
Very epic. And I'm still slightly lagging. Slight lag, but it'll be okay. Kick his butt.
Our crusade, then come. But know that none shall deny us salvation. This place shall be your tomb.
Continue the fight on the little cube.
I will free us from the wheel.
Oh, okay, this is like the Hades mechanic. Alright. Crescent Blade again, so just get behind him. He's gonna do a frontal cleave. At some point there's gonna be a thing where we have to pay attention to the dragon too. Oh, that's a multi-hit tank buster. Okay. Cool, cool, cool. What else you got? An AoE? Do we? Whoa, okay. You want to kind of walk around it together as a group. So that people can stay on the boss. Okay, and then get behind him again. Of course, whether this stays an extreme, we'll see. Binding cold. It's very cold. Very chilly. Ow, that is AoE damage.
Such is your power.
Does give you a frost fight. Oh, that's just a dot, probably. Oh. Oh. Black Fang.
You shall know true terror.
What the heck is happening? That's pretty cool looking though.
Dragon, hear me and obey.
I'm just kind of watching it to see if I can understand what it's doing. Shadow Crescent. Is this just another cleave? Oh, it's a cleave into a bunch of AoEs on the ground and also get away from the boss. Okay. So we want to get knocked back in a specific direction. Wait, okay, someone is getting knocked back that way. Oh, the knockback is on a person. And we want to get away from that. And that person who has the line probably wants to get away from the group. Yeah. They just want to get away from the group. Okay. Neat. Alright. Although that line AoE that they showed is probably not going to be visible. And now there's just a bunch of Golbezes. Okay, now there's a bunch of orbs. Probably over here for... Oh, no. Ow. Well, I'm going to die. I guarantee it. Stand here and I'll be okay. Ow, that hurt real bad. That was 2 bone stacks. I got hit by 2 of the lines. Okay, now they're dropping... Oh, okay. So just follow it. He's kind of doing attacks that Golbez would do, like Void Meteor. Because he does a lot of like meteor attacks in Dissidia and stuff, and also in Final Fantasy IV. And like what he did back there was Double Meteor, maybe? I don't know, I didn't read the name of that one, but... If it was, that's his, not his ultimate attack, but it's one of his signature attacks. I am trying to like pay attention to the names of the attacks. Oh, I went the wrong way. What have I done? Remember, you can just walk through them too. I mean, shit. Whoa, there's 2 lines. There are 2 lines. Oh. I think that person tried to stack in both and died because of it.
A raging gale to rend you asunder.
Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so you just gotta pay attention to which order they come out. So 1. So here's safe, and then I got it. Okay, let me just go this way. And we're safe here in this corner, and then we're safe over here in this corner. We can move here and be safe from everything immediately. You just have to pay attention to where he's going and a little bit faster than... I'm gonna get hit. It hit my butt. I'm a dummy. Just gotta pay attention to... That was me. Oh, is that all you gotta do? Me? Just gotta pay attention, huh? Isn't that refreshing to know? Just pay attention to the mechanics and I'll live. Haha. That's good to know. Void Stardust. Okay, well, it's not necessarily what I thought it would be called, but yeah. And again, you just follow it as they go kablooey, and then you're safe. Then we wait right here, and we're good. Okay. I'm assuming for normal mode we've seen everything that you can do. What is that? I take it back. We didn't see everything you can do. What the? Whew. Whew. I don't even care if I get hit. Goodbye. How am I? Bro, these healers are amazing.
My meteors will extinguish your light.
What? That's how we survived that. Although I should have probably gone with the group to the one side. Void Meteor again. More for tanks. Very epic looking fight. I'm not going to use LB. I'm just going to wait until he's a little bit lower. Just in case something goes terribly wrong and, you know, healers run out of mana. Because that's the scare of doing this for the first time.
My servant of shadow.
My servant of shadow. Man, I love that lightning surge. I freaking love the way that like antagonists in games talk. It's always so badass. Well, not always, but you know what I mean. I just like the way it sounds. And the music here is perfect, honestly. Like if you're a Final Fantasy IV fan, it's just beautiful. This is a great song to be listening to. So this is the orb thing. This orb mechanic is in the Hermes fight too, isn't it? Okay. So it's going left. It's going clockwise then. Okay, so if I stand here, I'm good. Here-ish. Or here. Yeah, that works. Let me just move over here and we're good. Wait a minute. Shit. Ah. Oh, yeah, we made it. Good job, DPS. And especially good job, healers. Jeez. I had so many Vuln stacks, I was seriously like, how am I still alive through all of this?
My power.
Okay, bye, Golbez. Bye.
Even my blade. So, this is the limit of my defiance.
Now you tried, man. Yeah, quit being a stinky poo-poo. It'll work out. Goodbye, stinky poo-poo man. Oh, he shrunk. Oh, he's so cute and tiny now. He's like a little baby. Little baby man. So cute. Why did he get so tiny? Was that the weight of his conviction that made him swole? It's just like, I am now huge. No, the Q! Well, the meaning of the Q, boys, it just served as our battleground to fight. When we had the whole podcast discussion about what the cube meant. It meant nothing. Nothing at all. Cube was just a platform in which to fight, as in all of the squares, circles, and other squares that they always make us fight on. And rectangles occasionally, but mostly squares. Choose your favorite type of square and circle.
What's happening?
I mean, that's fine, honestly, compared to an arena that looks all goofy and dumb. Oh, he's huge again.
At last, the moment is at hand.
What moment? Exactly?
You may have bested me, but not quickly enough. Too late will you look to the chasm.
Okay. Excuse me?
You've won the battle, but I win the war.
What are you doing to the dragon? Oh, and there goes the dragon. Can we put that down, please?
Stop this. I beg of thee. Let her go.
Darkness purpose made manifest once abided in the depths of this abyss, until one day it
No way.
dispersed in a haze of ether.
Are you actually going to summon
In the
Zeromus?
absence of the great flow, that ether has nowhere to return. And so it has coalesced, giving rise to a mighty void scent.
You are going to summon Zeromus.
Feast upon this dragon and its ardent longing for home with it.
You are going to summon Zeromus. Whoa. Whoa. What are they going to make Zeromus look like? Do we fight Zeromus in this next expansion? I mean, next patch? We really are.
Convergence of ancient and newborn, an entity without equal shall emerge. One who shall tear down the barrier between worlds.
Zeromus.
Upon you, who shall deliver us from eternal damnation, I bestow the name
A hero of Eld. That is backwards. Zeromus was not slain to remember. But the way that you're talking makes you seem... there it is. Zeromus, I have been right since the first time we saw you. Zeromus would show up, except... It's very much twisted, the way that Zeromus works here and everything. Oh my god. Are we gonna fight Zeromus next, patch? Or is there gonna be another fight at the end of this? You hear the Zeromus music as well? Oh. Speak.
No matter how powerful, a void scent can be
Quick.
sealed in
We need to
memoria.
throw a frying pan at it. I think it was a frying pan anyway. Uh-oh, that didn't work. Or, no, it's working. Oh. And there goes the memory of old Golbez.
Damn it. It's too strong.
It's not good. Are you telling me that Golbez wouldn't have been able to do any of this stuff unless we showed up?
Our warding scales may not hold. Not against a void scent born of Zodiac's ether.
Of course, Zeromus would be born of Zodiarc's ether, because Zeromus is just that type of evil.
We must retreat. Everyone to me.
I guess Zeromus is the Endwalker final boss. Or patch 6.5. We're too weak to fight Zeromus right now. We have to retreat. Is she still alive? Somewhere in that? What's your end game now, my man? We made it back safely, at least. At least that we got that going for us. The Dark Throne. Y'shtola is relieved to be back in the source. In light of this development, that we escaped with our lives is an accomplishment unto itself. Would that we could have anticipated as Daeja's yearning to return home could be manipulated in this fashion. Alas, we must now contend with a newborn void sent hell's-bent on breaching the rift. And one with such prodigious strength. Zeromus is unlike anything I have ever seen. So named for an ancient hero, as Golbez said. Though none can say if there is even a sliver of truth to the legends. Perhaps Golbez chose it in the hopes that his champion will do that to which no one could in the Contra Memoria, save the world. The true hero would not damn another world to save his own. Kinda like what happened with the Ascians, huh? And we're not about to let that happen. But regardless, we need to regroup. Aye, loath though I am to admit it, we are now in no state to face a void send of Zeromus' might. We have to find a way to get past and beat him up. Vertra, not least of all, and body and mind both. For now, let us return to Radzatan and take stock of the situation. Very well. Zyros, might I trouble you to head to Bestway's Burrow and apprise Urianger of the situation? The rest of us shall tend to Vertra's wounds before returning to Radzatan. Pray join us there anon. Okay. Kind of a fitting thing, I guess, that you fight Golbez and then Zeromus. I was wondering when Zeromus would show up, though, because I was at first like, it has to show up. Like, Zeromus was the thing in Final Fantasy IV that was controlling Golbez and was what influenced him. It's not the same Golbez, though, and that's why he's able to say he's a hero of Eld. I think Durant is also a little off his rocker there with that. Golbez, nobody liked Zeromus. Zeromus is bad. Okay. Now, Zaros, thou art returned. I am pleased to say it hath been blessedly uneventful in your absence, but more importantly, what of your mission in the void? I'm assuming that the king they were talking about was actually Cecil. Heavens forfend. That Ajdaja, to be used to birth a dread void scent born of Zodiac's residual aether. Although we could not have predicted this outcome, there is one small mercy. The void scent containment seal. We employed the self-same brands that once imprisoned Zodiac in its creation. The seal should serve to hinder Zeromus. And for how long? None can say. For our enemy's strength is unknowable, whilst the barrier was erected in haste. Thou shalt rejoin our comrades in none to deliberate measures, yes? Then I shall remain here to maintain my vigil over the seal. Should we observe signs of an impending incursion, rest assured I shall send word without delay. Go well, my friend. Okay. Head back. It's funny, I'm looking at the time and I'm like, bro, you gotta stream in like 11 minutes. Well, we can wrap up the story and then I can start streaming. It's the busy life that I lead now, when I'm wanting to make YouTube content that's exclusive and also to avoid spoiling people, you know? I think it's worth it though, honestly. I give people something that they want, because I know a lot of people would just be like, I don't want to watch this. You know? And then people can go back and watch my reaction in a way that would be new to them, instead of it just being like, oh, he streamed it and whatever. Now you can see me craft up theories and stuff, because, woohoo. I'm going to avoid talking about all this stuff on stream for a while, though. I normally try not to. Ah, Master Zyros, we've been expecting you. When the Satrap and your comrades returned earlier, I couldn't help but notice that they were in low spirits. I hope it's nothing too serious. But forgive me, I must be eager to join them, if you would follow me. Alright, enter the Megaduta. Megaduta Finder. Hello.
Do you remember Chiriato and Farfarello?
I do.
The cowardly pair of voidsent that dwelled in my domain. Chiriato devoured Farfarello, and in so doing he inherited an all-consuming fear of Barbariccia. For as you know,
Barbariccia.
when a voidsent is devoured, it doesn't simply cease to be. Its soul persists within the devourer. And when a voidsent dies, all the souls that harbored may break free to become individual entities once more. That is to say, by defeating Zeromus, we may yet save Ajdaja. And to make certain that we do, we must remind her of who she is. When the time comes, you must call to her. Call with all your being.
Thy words give me heart.
Then it's settled. Our objective is to defeat Zeromus.
Yay, Zeromus!
While
Let's
it is
go,
unsettling
gamers!
that a void scent could be born of Zodiac's ether,
Let's go, gamers!
its very nature may render it susceptible to the brands that once contained him. Did Urianger have aught to say? I see. If the seal may not hold for long, then haste is paramount.
Couldn't we just let it come to the source and strike it down here?
Doing so would consign Ajdaya's soul to the ethereal sea. Any attempt to ensure her survival demands that we deal with Zeromus in the 13th.
I could barely go near it. Never mind land a blow. So thick was the shroud of darkness. How do you propose we fight such a foe?
Simple. Against impenetrable darkness, we must wield resplendent light.
You mean like the Warrior of Light? Because that's
And it
pretty
just so
pretty
happens
bright
there
light.
is a world replete with light.
Oh wait, we're gonna go. Oh, the world that's filled with light, and we're gonna suck it up like a vacuum and then throw it at them.
The question of how we will harness that light, you may leave to me.
Time to figure that
With our
out.
recent discoveries and proven techniques, as well as the aid of comrades near and far, I have faith that we will find a way.
Life finds a way. In other words, is the goal
But
here.
only if I begin my work at once. Rest up while you can, for there will be much to do when I return.
I don't know about you, but I'm excited.
It wouldn't do to be idle while our esteemed sorceress labors tirelessly. I shall be training if you have need of me.
Wait. Allow me to join you. I must become stronger for what lies ahead.
Oh, okay, sounds good.
Fine by me. Come on then.
I shall not pass my time wallowing in despair. Using my vessel, I shall attend what preparations I may.
Speak with Varshan. Ajdaja is my sister. Long have I dreamed of saving her. But if I am to do so, I must be better than I have been. Blessed though I am to have you and yours as comrades, I cannot well ask you to lift me up every time doubt and despair creep into my heart. I won't falter again, this I swear. I will hold fast to my convictions, Iros, and I pray that you will stand with me to the last. Heck yeah. The Dark Throne completed. I'm pretty sure this would be the end of the, Oh, we're gonna get a little bit of an outro. Probably, meanwhile, on the moon of the 13th, yeah, I figured this is gonna happen. Yeah, that's good. The moon's just a giant dark abyss now.
Zeromus is risen, but not yet at full strength. It will take time before the fiend is able to breach the veil. But what is another moment on this long journey I have endured? It remains as fresh as if it were yesterday.
Yep, I knew it was his voice.
Old
I already called
friend,
that.
the memory of your passing and the pain.
The question is, what killed Golbez? Just take
As I
note.
promised
This
you
can't be
then,
Cecil.
I promise you now, they shall sing of Golbez, the hero who shattered the wheel and brought salvation to the world.
Man, poor Golbez. Yeah, what makes it tragic is that even when Golbez's original timeline, because I don't know how to transcribe any of this, so I'm just gonna sort of throw it out there. Golbez was not remembered very fondly for what he had done. Even if he was taken under the control of Zeromus, a lot of people hated him because they didn't know. And yeah, from Light's embrace to Shadow's deep, a world to save, an oath to keep. Ah, that's lovely. Oh, that was wonderful. Well, let's go unlock Extreme, and that's gonna be where I end it, and then immediately start to streaming. But where do I go? Here, there. Yeah, that was fun. What I was saying was Golbez wasn't remembered very fondly, so I guess I could see a friend of his trying to be like, nah, man, I want to make people sing your name in praise. They will know the greatness that you accomplished, when I don't think that was ever really important to Golbez. For him, it was always atonement. He played Dissidia, and he's just trying to help the Warriors of Light and his brother because he feels bad about what happened between them, and he wants to atone for all of the atrocities he committed. Like, he's not an evil guy. He's a guy that wants to fix the world and make it better. It's just that people think that he's evil, but he's not. He was just under the influence of something too powerful for him to comprehend, which is unfortunate. Talk about Golbez. Oh man, I haven't talked to him about any of those other fights to the extremes of them. I am terrible. Ah, the knight clad in armor black. Pray tell me your encounter with him beyond the veil and spare no detail. Okay, wandering bard man that I don't know. The true motive for his crusade was the salvation of his brethren. Thus did he pervert Najdaja's yearning to return home into a force capable of breaking down the barrier between worlds. One that speaks of deliverance, concocting a plot that would condemn the souls of another world to death rings. Decidedly unheroic. Nonetheless, I feel inspired with a new verse. Pray lend me your ears. There we go. We've unlocked it. So that's what I'll be streaming later along with Final Fantasy Tactics. Damn it, I wasn't supposed to let people know. From home, the shackled worm did yearn. Stained by shadow, her nature turned. In darkness did her captor swear to claim his kind their stolen share. Only salvation would suffice, another world to pay the price. Hailed hero or branded villain, deeds never to be forgiven. Could have driven him to such ends, to sacrifice the very souls he hoped to save, to give rise to an entity born of such sorrow as Aromas. He is worthy of contempt for his deeds, of that there is no doubt, yet all was done for the salvation of his people. One cannot help but be drawn to such a tale. Right. Oh, that was nice. It's just a different take on Golbez, but that's because it's not the same person. And I figured that from the way I was always like, this can't be the same Golbez. This is a different Golbez. This just doesn't feel like the same Golbez. And it turns out I was right. And when Durant brings up the King of Baron, that has to be Cecil he's talking about. The reason why they don't name drop him is because then people would be like, oh, okay, so then what the heck is happening? Like, who is this guy then? King of Baron is in Cecil. Yeah, it has to be that. And then summoning up the 4 fiends. I guess in his head, for Durant, he was like, no, these aren't fiends of evil that Golbez allied with. These are fiends of glory. The same with Zeromus. Zeromus was a good thing. Like, no, they were all pretty bad. I don't know how you perverted that history of Golbez so much, but yeah, they're not seen to be nice things. But yeah, that's it. So yeah, this recording's ending. So I guess this is where we'll end it, and then I will see you guys in a bit. Go back.